All right, we got some Halloween cookies that we're going to decorate today. We're going to do this witch's hat here that we see here, and then we're going to do this witch's skirt with the stocking legs and shoes. So let's get started. Here's what you're going to need first. So I've got my outline icing in my pumpkin orange color. I've got my outline in my green with my flood green, my flood in my white, my outline in my purple with my flood purple, and then my black outline icing with my black flood icing. So first things first, we're going to do our the band here on the witch's hat. So you can see like the little indentation here for the witch's hat. So I'm just going to follow that indentation. That indentation is kind of just like a little outline. And I'm just going to fill it in with my flood icing here in the middle. So I'm just going to add that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that to the side and do this portion, this part of the witch's legs. So I'm going to outline the top part here, which is supposed to be like a spider web. And, well, my black is being a little wonky. I normally wouldn't stay this close to outline to the cookie, but it's not working really well for me right now. So I'm just going to make a fun little pattern here on the boots as well, just to give it a little something extra. You could always just do them straight across, but I want to do something a little different. And this cutter is by Kaleido-Cuts. They're both, well, the witch's bottom, like the skirt here and the, with the boots is by Kaleido-Cuts. And then the hat is by the Sweet Design Shop. So I'm just gonna take my black flood icing and I'm gonna fill in the bottom portion of the boot. And this is my flood icing that is like maple syrup. So I've got that done. So now I'm going to do the top portion. And I'm going to outline in the white because it's supposed to be a spider web. So I'm just generously going around. I don't want to fill it up too much because I'm going to add some of the black lines to this part. So I'm just using my scribe to move my icing around. I'm just holding it with this finger here so it doesn't slide all over the place. And if you feel like you need a little bit more icing, go ahead, add a little bit more. I could have used a little bit more, but it'll work. You don't want it to be too full because then it'll overflow. All right. So I'm just going to tap it a little bit. Then I'm going to take my my flood icing, my black flood icing, and I'm just going to make circles here. Kind of half circles, I guess, really. And if you pull up on the tip, it falls so nicely. And it doesn't have to be accurate at all because you're going to see here in a minute, we're going to put our scribe right through it. So you're just going to draw lines right down towards the bottom. Now you don't want to go all the way through because you'll mess up your outline icing. But you do want to make sure that you go to the edge. So there you go. So we're going to set this one to the side and we're going to grab our hat. So I'm going to outline the bottom portion here, and I'm going to leave the little scalloped edge on the bottom so I can fill it in nicely with some green here in a minute. So I'm just using my flood icing to go around. And it can bump up right up against that purple. There we go. And then we're going to add the top portion. And I'm just going to use my outline to go around it again. And again, I don't want to add too much so that it doesn't overflow. I'm just using my scribe here just to move everything around. All right, so let's set him over here to dry for a little bit while we finish the legs. Okay. So I'm gonna do green stockings here for the witch's legs, and I'm just drawing lines down. And then I'm going to take my flood icing and fill it in here. And here. I want to make sure I cover up that boot portion there. And I'm just taking my scribe and moving it around like so. I'm going to add a little bit more on this side. And then I'm going to take my purple. Well, first I'm going to shake it a little bit, get it to settle. And then I'm going to take my my flood purple, and I'm going to just draw lines straight across like so. And this just adds like a fun little pattern to your witch's stockings. All right, so you could always do like a zigzag pattern or something like that. So we're gonna let that dry while we add this portion and finish up this hat. And I'm gonna do the middle buckle for the hat. I'm going to fill this in. And then I'm just going to gently, now normally I would let this dry for about 8 hours or so before I added this color onto it. But for the sake of TV, I'm going to do it like that. Okay, and now I'm going to add some little scallops at the bottom with the green. I'm just following along. And I'm going to add a little green dot. And I almost, you know, I'm not liking that. So I think I'm going to scrape it off and do it over. Look at that. I'm just going to scrape it off and redo it because I don't like it. Don't like it. So that's one wonderful thing about cookies is if you don't like it, a lot of times you can just scrape it off and start over. All right, let's try that again. I think my scallops need to touch the hat. There we go. Now let's add our dot to the middle. That looks much better. I like it. Okay, now let's finish up web legs. We're gonna add this little loopy loop here for the shoes, the boots. And then I'm gonna write boo at the top here. And there you have it. You've got our legs, you've got our hat, and you're set and ready to go.